Hello, good morning, good afternoon, good evening, wherever you are in the world. This is August Rowe, House Scorpio, and you're tuned in to G.R.D. Today has been quite an eventful day. I'm joined by my cousin. He might come onto the mic, he might not. You do know I do these podcasts very often solo. But, anyways, today was a bit of a mixed bag before I even get deep into it. Sold a car. Crazy enough, with little to no information. And before you get too deep into it, it's not like that. There was no bad karma associated with this one. This person really wanted the car. We even expressed greatly at great lengths to say, hey, we know little about this car. The person we're selling it for, they're leaving for college, and they didn't even tell us some of the issues I was wrong with. But you know what? Real talk. I have a video I recorded. I didn't show you. And of course, you viewers didn't see it, but it pulled pretty good for an old V8, man. It like legitimately, it connected. The tires gripped, and it sent. And for 2001, it had the slide over stick shift, and it was a 5 speed, and the shiftable transmission still worked. Rear wheel drive. So, it was a BMW, and people who know anything about mechanics and European vehicles, you should just stay away from the plague unless you buy them brand new or on a lease or something. That's the only way I think you should touch them. To be honest, or you know the person that you're buying it from. So that's my take on it. I'm going to go ahead and crack the window for you. Yep. Probably should drive off for yeah. We got people staring at us. Sorry about that. We was about to drop the window so it doesn't get too humid in here because I swear it's trying to rain, bro. It's really trying to rain. Can you grab that microphone? You don't have to speak into it. No, the microphone's right there. So it's not like slamming and rolling around. You know what I mean? Yeah, you got it secure. All right, so we're gonna take off real quick. Anyways, what was I saying? Oh yeah, if you're gonna buy a European luxury car, I would say lease it. Uh, know who you're buying it from. Make sure they took care of it. There's just too many factors for it to go wrong. Even though I know this, you know this, the Subaru's had its own issues, but and that's a Japanese built vehicle in Gunma, Japan. But even with that being said, yeah, you already know she's gonna start singing in a minute. Um, Actually, if you can, instead of holding on to the mic, if you want to talk into it, just plug it back in. Unplug it from the bottom. Is there's a little clip right? There's a little clip right there. Yeah, so that way, it won't be huh? Yeah, unless you want to say something. Okay. Anyways, with that being said, yeah, just be careful when you buy European vehicles. BMWs are notorious for issues, like catastrophic things. The early versions of them, they were fine, like the E series. I think it's called the E series, like the E90s and all that. They were fine, but you're talking about something that was built in the '90s, and most of them were imported directly from Europe. So a lot of them didn't have those problems. The engineering was solid, but the ones built elsewhere, like Scotty Kilmer said, stay away from them. And I thought Scotty Kilmer was full of shit, just because you know how some mechanics be up in their game. You kind of do it. You do it. Everyone kind of ups themselves. So it's just the way. It's just the nature of things. You're gonna hype up your own shit just a little bit. But he had a point though about staying away from European vehicles. Like they're just headaches. It goes from Japanese, like creme de la creme, the ones that take care of their shit. Then maybe American. I still think maybe there's something that tops that. There's like an in between. Maybe some of the French cars. Because I rarely hear people talk about Volvos having problems. Even no, Volvo's Swedish.
It's not BMW.
Volvo? No, they're Swedish. I mean, they're European, but the Swedes do little. They do things different.
I figured it would be the Germans with the better cars.
They
Especially
have
with the space program.
they have a considerable amount of talent when it comes to over engineering shit to make it so complex,
Sounds about right.
and then it breaks. So it's like, yeah, they're smart when it comes to building the damn things, but they're too smart for their own good, and they make it stupid to the point where it's like, I can't even wrench on it to fix it. And not to mention, most European vehicles, you have to order the parts from out of the country. You know what I'm saying? So it's kind of like, Well, damn, I can't wrench on it myself because you don't release the bulletin for it, so I can't see what the blueprint is to fix it. And on top of that, when I am able to fix it, I have to essentially import it from across the sea, and that's freight, bro. That's freight. Normally, when I do these things, I have like my little lavaliers from the iPhone. But today I want to do a little higher quality because the last couple times I've been, so I think I'm doing all right, shifting gears. And anyways, we're gonna head over to the park over here so we can finish this podcast. But yeah, so with a bit of God's grace there, we got it sold. We did our thing. Oh, what? It's the Citrus Plaza.
Where's what's that Mexican place?
Mr. Taco?
No, that Mexican restaurant. It's like a store or something, or it might be a
Cardenas?
store.
Oh, Caraco.
Yeah.
We're not far from it, but it's not within like a 5-minute drive. It'll take about 15 minutes to get over there. Why, you want to check it out?
No, I was thinking that was this center right here.
Oh, okay. Yeah. I mean, it's a nice little shopping area. I mean, but they ain't gonna put no Caraco over here, bro. That's their main competition. They have we're getting off topic, but it's like they have a gigantic billboard outside of the store that says "We will beat Walmart." That's some bold shit. Do you know who Sam Walmart is? I mean, I'm all for it. Let's see how well you do, bro. But Sam been around a lot longer than Caraco, unless was Caraco big in Mexico or something? Like the XOXO over there, like that's their version of AMPM.
I've never seen that over there.
You never seen an XOXO?
No, that either. But the Caracal or whatever it is.
Maybe it's a Mexican American thing or like an American, huh?
More than likely.
Yeah, it very well could be. But yeah, but like I said, we did pretty good. We even put a 24-hour basically a cool down period. We gave the guy a cool down period, because he was hype off of buying the damn car. So put a 24-hour cool down period in there. He took it and went to his mechanic, and so far I haven't got any messages saying, hey, I need to bring it back. That's good. Now that was well over at least 6 hours ago. So his mechanic definitely had to take a look at it today. Because today's Friday? Yeah, today's Friday. Moving forward. And I need to get in the other lane. I'm not getting on the freeway. There we go. What else? Today the CERT training, that was pretty cool. I mean, it was when you start off something new, it's boring because it's like they have to give you all the orientation, the blah blah blahs, and it's like then you got people just, I don't know, it's like the temperature was fine, man. the temperature was fine in the room, but then it just got like ridiculously cold. And I was like, oh man, somebody must have said something. Oh, jeez. And then like I'm sitting there, I ain't got no jacket. I'm like, all right, whatever. But other than that, like I think it's gonna be a fun class. We got another what they call it, a back-to-back tomorrow or something like that, the double back, or they got some name for it or whatever. But I think it's gonna be dope, and it's gonna. And I mentioned this before on other podcasts, how finding out things in your local community might behoove you. It's a positive. For a long time, and like I said, I'm not gonna get back into it. I express this. It ain't that Mr. Taco, brother. It's good. They're good. Me and my lady went over here, but no, it's not that. It ain't that Mr. Taco. And they're not even called Mr. Taco no more. They're called El Faragon. Yeah, it went from Mr. Taco, the chips and salsa, to El Faragon.
Oh yeah. I went in there.
And then
The new one?
I have a burrito named after me in there.
It's more expensive.
Hmm?
It's more expensive in there.
No, the price is still.
They got like a whole different menu.
What, that one?
No, the place over there. By your
I
house.
wouldn't say it's more expensive. It's about the same. It's about the same price now, bro. About the same price. Hold on one second. I'm gonna drop the mic. I should have brought the lavalier. Sorry, people. I'm shifting gears and yeah. Anyways, this is why people buy automatics, isn't it? Not for podcasting, but just for ease of use. Yeah, just peace of mind and whatever. That's the word. I could not think of convenience for convenience sake. Um, yeah, laugh. It's ridiculous. I know. Moving forward, so I think that's going to be a great asset. Find out what's going on in your community, and just try to get certified on something. Like I spent many Friday nights going to clubs or staying up late drinking for whatever reason. This time is different, just doing something that feels very productive. That's positive, and you can help your family. You can help yourself. They were really honing in on the help yourself thing, weren't they?
Oh yeah.
That was like integral, and it's like that old adage where it's like, hey, if someone is swimming, they don't know how to swim, and they start drowning, and they pull you down, they literally say, knock them out. It is better to swim with an unconscious body floating behind you than you both drowning. I thought it was bullshit. Like, I honestly thought that was like, man, that ain't in no manual. Guess what?
I thought they were saying
It's in the
knock 'em
manual.
out and leave 'em.
Well, you don't leave them. You knock them out to the point where they're not. Sit your ass down. Hit him with the jab again, Jay. Hit him with the jab again. Hit his ass, Craig. Hit him. No, you don't. Oh shit, you got okay. That sounds so terrible on the mic. Now, you don't do it like that. You just kind of just knock them silly, and then it's like, okay, well, then you save them. But if you both drown because they're panicking and they're pulling you down, then it's a problem. So, like I said, we're making cracking jokes, but like I said, it was nice to get involved with a community and see how you can prepare yourself and your family. And then I didn't mention this on the last podcast, and I'll get off this topic in a moment. Is that I mentioned this to you in the class? I'm like, humanity is not prepared for natural disasters. No city is ready. Because and what I mean by this, people, is that they gave us some statistical numbers. I'm not going to name the city that we were in, but they only had 17 firefighters for 71,000 residents. That's currently living there. That's not what they say, the passing through or the people that just like right. It's not even that. It's 71 dead. I probably shouldn't say dead because that sounds bad. 71,000 residents. That's the number. Maybe plus or minus 500 whatever the trailing numbers. I don't remember what it was. My point is, 17 people out of 71,000 are qualified enough to give a medical services. That's insane. What? I guess the question I'm trying to ask is, what is the stipulations or the criteria that one has to meet in order for you to be at that level to say, hey, I'm a first responder. I'm this, I'm that. Granted, I know most times it's physically fit. That's just automatic on the list. Secondly, it would more than likely be psychology or like a psychological profile. You have to kind of get evaluated. Like, okay, are you mentally stable? I mean, not mentally stable to handle death, dismemberment, and all the crazy stuff. I'm just like, are you mentally stable before you even come in here? Because when you come out, you ain't gonna be right. I shouldn't laugh, but that's actually kind of true. But and then what would a third one be? I guess what you can't say financial because that shouldn't be a reason to keep people in or out, especially for like emergency services.
That's just your ability to assess the situation properly to go with the best method. Obviously, strong leadership skills and someone who knows what to do. And of course, save as many people. What was the phrase?
Say
The most amount of people.
I know you're talking about the thing, their model. It's doing the most good for the most people, or something like that. I thought I had it, but I know it's like doing the most good for the most people, and I get what they're saying. Basically, the needs of the many outweigh the needs of the few, in an inverted way of saying it. You know what I mean? But yeah, so that's another aspect of it. But I remember when I was in the service, and I thought this was all hyperbole when they were saying you're part of the 1%, you're an elite group of people, and I'm like, man, y'all just keep blowing smoke up people's rup. Stop, stop. But when I got on that plane to fly back, like I was telling you when we were in the session, it made sense. And then it really dawned on me, how does 1% of the whole nation, the whole of this nation, we're going up here that way you can, do your thing, um, is supposed to defend all this? And I was just like, look at the size of Texas. That state alone takes a day just to drive through it, let alone try to defend anything that happens within it. So I mean, the concentrated effort of government governance is heavy, bro. Like, think about the manpower and the thought power that has to go into, like, okay, we're gonna pull a source from here, 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 and do it in a timely manner and effectively. That's what was drawing me to all these courses. Like, wow, you really have to put like time and effort into it. But it's like, well, judging by some of the exercise that we had today, it's kind of like, well, if you only got 5 minutes to do something, how much thought can you put into 5 minutes? Is that just a test of mental dexterity? Or are you really thinking deeper levels? Or are you thinking more of a short term attack plan or long term attack plan? Because when, I guess, you weren't group 3, were you?
No.
Group 3, they built their boxes the highest, you dig? But it's like, okay, but is it meant to last? Or is it supposed to just hurry up, build it, get it out there, and go? I wasn't understanding the immediacy of it. Whatever. My point is that I'm starting to have a different level of perspective and thought process on how groupthink works. Because it's a great equalizer. It lets you know how intelligent you are and whatever remarks you put out there. And it also is a measure of the people around you and their intelligence level, of how they approach the situation. I mean, there's always that old axiom: there's like 1,000 ways to skin a cat, right? Well, there's 1,000 ways a scenario can go down, but it's like choosing the best one out of all of them. I mean, that's a task within a task, dude. But anyways, enough of that. Let's get on to the experiment. Since you're here, you don't actually know. I've been doing this. Oh, hold on. I'm sorry. Let me see if they closed the park. Did they close the park? And yeah, it looks okay. It's dusk. They already closed it. All right. We're just swinging around right here. We don't need them problems, bruh. We don't need them problems. Oh wait, this side's open still. That is the sound of a gear lever. Okay. Oh, infrared cameras. We're gonna pass on that too. You see them? Okay. Sorry for the dead air, folks. Trying to find a place to park so I can do this podcast because it's part of tonight is the only night I can do this particular part of the test. Um, well, while I'm doing this, I can explain to you what I've been doing. I've been looking at horoscopes and how they are applicable to every person's daily life, right? However, I found a new element to add to the testing. Um, 115? Huh? I, huh?
No,
I don't.
you said element, so I said element 115.
Oh, I'm dumb, dude. I'm like, what the fuck are you talking about? Like, one, like, 115. Like, I thought you were talking about like the. Oh, yep. That's that all-wheel drive kicking in. There we go. I thought you were talking about the speed limit sign, dude. I'm like, wait, 150. It says 25 miles. I'm doing 25. What are you talking about? Um. Yeah. Okay. So here we can park it right here, and I can continue the podcast. Yeah. Go ahead and pop that. All right. So I was saying I've been doing. Remember I told you about the documentary I want to do about the astrological signs. How we all have one. Like Taurus, Scorpio, and all that. Well, I started, but instead of doing the visual, I wanted to do the audio version of it first. That way, I can have these recordings, go back and listen to them, and kind of put a chart together. And the criteria was this: hit, miss, or not applicable. And then the cross section of that was going to be um, diurnal, nocturnal, and crepuscular, meaning the readout that I did when I read during the day, like started my day, did it play out
Yeah.
to accordingly, right? Or did it miss, or was it not applicable? And then I say, okay, well, I went through my day, I read it at night, and then I cross check it again. And it's like, okay, well, I have to make sure throughout either one of these scenarios, there's a third one, crepuscular, I'm getting it down too. The third one is like, okay, or no, excuse me, I had to make sure I'm not trying to confirm my bias. Like when I read the horoscope, make sure when I'm reading, I'm like, okay, am I trying to agree with this, or does it actually resonate with me? Well, objectively, but not to the point where it's like I want this to be true. I really take a deep look, and I say it to myself, I'm like, okay, I read it, I reread it. Sometimes I read it 3 times, and I'm like, does this match today's events? Even the days that I don't do anything. And that was another section that I had to add in, is like the days that I don't read the horoscope at all, or I don't do a podcast. That has to be included in this 30-day experiment, because I'm only doing it for 30 days. I've been podcasting every day since June 1st, and it's day 21 now. So I have a couple days out. I didn't touch any of it, and then I see how that affected my life as well. And so on and so forth. But anyways, the last criteria is crepuscular, which means during the twilight hours. Like when I read it during 11:30 and beyond. That's why I said this is the only time I can do this particular one today, because yesterday I did nocturnal, which I went through the whole day. I was like, okay, how does this affect me at night? And I felt a different energy when I did it at night, bro. There's it's really out, like not out there like far out, man. No, not like that. But it's like it's really out there. Like there's Google Scholar papers on this shit. Because we are intrinsically, at the end of the day, we are still animals, even though we are more than animal because of our progress on this planet, what we've done, what we built, and things of that nature. But we still are, and adhering to nature's laws. Daylight hours. We are a diurnal species. We like the daylight. Our eyes, our circadian rhythms are for that. We're not really nocturnal, but we became nocturnal because of artificial lighting. But the artificial lighting is letting us know, hey, it's daylight, but it's actually nightfall where you're supposed to be resting. That causes disease. That causes you. I know you know where I'm coming from this, but this is what I had explained in the other podcast. So, crepuscular literally means crepuscular. It's twilight. It's the twilight light. Like that moment between nightfall and the sun's about to come back around the planet. Quick question. Pause this real quick. Okay, cool. So crepuscular is twilight. Um, crap. I stopped the recording. That's why.
Right when the sun comes in.
What was that? I kind of feel like I broke the flow. But anyways, we're gonna move forward. I don't edit these. Like, and if you look at the YouTube channel, you'll notice that they're not edited. Like, you hear everything. That way, it's all there. But anyways, moving forward. Tonight is the night for crepuscular. Yesterday I did nocturnal, and the day before that I did diurnal during the day. So I have about 9. Well, after today it'll be 8 days left before I have to build a chart, and I don't know how long it's going to take. I didn't put a time limit on me, but I have to go back and listen to all the episodes. Right, some of them are like 5 minutes long, some of them are almost 40 minutes long. But that's the idea of the experiment. That's the podcast essentially. So Actually, I think we're done recording for now because I have to wait till midnight and read the horoscope. Yep, that's it. Ready? I'm gonna do this next part. Okay, so now we're gonna talk about crepuscular time cycles of the planet. It's getting a little bit later, but it's also the temperature's actually dropped a little bit, hasn't it? It got a little bit cooler over here. Um, anyways, uh, to kind of refresh some of the people who may or may not have been listening, the first part of this recent 3-day titling of the podcast, the diurnal, we went over how our human species is pretty much a daylight-driven species. Our biological components are, they're designed to do that. We have ocular sight, we have sense of smell, and we have the forget the third part. It's in the notes that I posted on the last video, but there's a third component that allows us to operate and function during the daylight hours with ease and avoid predation and things of that sort. Yesterday, as compared, not compared, in relation to today's episode, was the nocturnal episode when I recorded everything at night. The energy felt was different. I remember the nightlife being the quintessential choice for me as a human being. Oh, since you're here, here's the question. I remember I did write it down, or in this case, typed it down, and I'll rephrase it. 1 second. So here's was the original question, dude. I said, what chemicals does the body produce during daylight hours versus nightlight or even twilight? That was the initial question that made me add this new component to the astrological testing. Okay, and then I found out there's actual Latin words for it, as you saw earlier when you looked up crepuscular, diurnal, nocturnal, and crepuscular. And well, I streamlined the question to more of what kind of human are you? Are you a diurnal type, nocturnal type, or crepuscular type? I realized that even though that is a good question, it's wow. Does he have to really hit the high beams like that? He's really hitting his high beams like that, isn't he? I mean, bro, you sit up in a truck. Sorry, folks. We're you know how I do these podcasts. I always pull over to the side of the road and do something. He's still hitting them.
Well, I do that too sometimes if it's dark on the road, just to be sure I ain't hitting nothing.
Yeah, but now he just left them on. Anyways, not my problem. All I'm saying is, you can't drive around like that.
Well, yeah, that's what I said on the empty roads.
Oh,
When it's dark.
fair enough. I must have missed that. Sorry. Yeah, that was a question because I was wondering what kind of chemicals does the body produce during the day that allow it to function throughout the day. And then you also have to look at what kind of chemicals the body's producing at night to allow you to function at night. Because normally, we all should be asleep right now. We have you're familiar with the circadian rhythm, right? About your heartbeat and how things. Okay, cool. I explained that in the last podcast. If you people need to see what that is, you can either Google it right now or go back to the last podcast. And then also, what kind of chemicals happen when you're awake during the twilight hours? You know, again, and I mentioned this in the nocturnal episode, was that if we're meant to be asleep when the sun's away and we have all this artificial light, our minds are being tricked into thinking it's still daylight, although we're operating in the nightfall. You see what I'm saying? It's like it's mainly in metropolitan situations or cities. You see how we got see that amber light right there? That's messing with us. You have some of the white light over there, which is either LED or halogen. I really don't think it's halogen, and I forgot to look that up. I'm probably gonna forget again. But anyways, small detail, but maybe a major one. I'm overthinking it. My point:
Irritate me. Trust me.
the amber ones or the LEDs?
All lights. That's why I don't even like to when I'm in the house. That's why I don't like lights on in there.
It's the same here. And then I think I showed you the Star Walk app, right? Where that shows you where the light pollution is. And I kind of plugged their app on the last episode. They're not paying me, people. I just really enjoy the app. Like I bought it, so I just want to share the information. And then finally, I had to ask myself these last two questions about the triple cycles of the day, or on the planet rather. how does this impact the study I'm doing? Does it invoke a bias upon the information given or received? You know, well, not we. Since you knew this, I was saying to you earlier about how there's a chart that I'm gonna make about reading the horoscope at the beginning of the day, at the end of the day, and then reading it in between dusk and dawn. And it's just like, okay, how accurate are these things depending on the person's cycle of the day that they're reading these, and how does these horoscope actually add accuracy to a human's predictive events in life? Because that's what most astrology is predictive events. It's when you look at it, it's saying, hey, I'm throwing one out here because I have not looked at today's horoscope. Hey, you're financially savvy today, so whatever decision you're gonna make is gonna kind of work out for you. Da 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 da. Okay, are you blowing smoke up my ass to kind of be like, hey, get out there, stay motivated, and get the job done, or are you really predicting that today is my day that I'm gonna be more financially aware and I'm gonna make some great moves? Or does the opposite happen? I make a terrible mistake. You go to the casino, you lose everything. So it's just one of those things. And then not to mention, well, actually to mention, since you brought up today, the number system. That was an interesting video. It was a video about brain mastery, was it? Or number mastery?
Superhuman,
Superhuman mathematics. The man was a human calculator. And you might even know who I'm talking about. At any rate, it broke down how numbers and symbols basically run the world, and to an extent, I already knew that, but he broke it down to a point where I didn't even think about how Roman, I guess, indoctrination, if you will, has set a tone on us as far as just basic counting skills, where we don't count zero first, but zero is like one of the most supreme numbers in the universe. Zero can make something more of itself, or it can make it nil of itself. Really, it's kind of like the power of one. The digit one can be great, or it can be less. But all I'm pointing out is that these extra factors, should I be plugging them into this experiment? Because each day a little bit something new gets added, but the overall, right, but the overall premise should still remain at its core. Are astrological events truly applicable to one's life? And this is based on objective reasoning and not trying to go based on total emotion. I'm trying to keep a balance of the two. You and I both know science likes to call this stuff pseudoscience, but it has existed long before the advent of what we call modern day science, or mainstream. Cultures have had this type of alchemic presence, charting the stars and having these origin stories about them. Not just the Greeks, even though that's the one that's popular, but Mayans did it, Sumerians did it, Babylonians did it, early Native Americans did it. All humans have done it. So why is it chalked with the pseudoscience? That's part of the study. But anyways, I'm gonna pull up the Wikipedia page. You guys can check the link, and we're gonna go into what Crepuscular is. I already gave you a small preface of what it is, and I also have a few Google Scholar links to show y'all. So here we go. You want to tune in? Oh, you already had a link. You already had it loaded up. That's what that bug was on your phone. Okay, so for those who don't know, Crepuscular, and I hope we're saying it right. Crepuscular, not Crepuscular. Crepuscular. That's how you say it. Crepuscular animals are those that are active primarily during twilight. That is the periods of dawn and dusk. Remember, I was just talking about that. Yes, I believe it's gonna be crepuscular. If we like clicked on it and did like the phonetic saying of it, I'm pretty sure that's what it's gonna be. This is distinguished from the diurnal and nocturnal behavior, where an animal is active during the hours of daylight and hours of darkness, respectively. The term is not precise. However, as some crepuscular animals may also be active on a moonlit night or during an overcast day. I didn't think about that because overcast, you think about it, it's still daylight. It's just gray, and then moonlight. Well, let me finish the passage, then we'll get to moonlight because that's something different. Um, the term matutinal. You mean that's how you say it? Matutinal? I think it's matutinal right here. The term matutinal is used for animals that are active only before sunrise, as the vespertine for the active only after sunset. Vespertine. Learning some new shit right now. It's crazy. So let me go back to the moonlight comment. Moonlight, you've observed the moon when it's out like that and there's no clouds above. Like right now, there's clouds above us. It's just light overcast. It's trying to rain. But you see moonlight. Moonlight is literally the sunlight reflecting off of it. So can you really say that that's a light? It's more of an albedo effect because of the surface of the moon. And this is an observable natural phenomenon pending on weather conditions in your area. Because the moon is not a bioluminescent or it's not a luminescent thing. It has no luminance at all. It's literally just sunlight being refracted off the surface. So I'm not buying that one. Anyways, last paragraph, and then we're gonna go into the actual the behaviors of it, like how we did with diurnal and nocturnal. The time of day of an animal is active depends on a number of factors. Well, duh, right? Predators need to link their activity to times of day at which their prey is available, and prey try to avoid the times when their principal predators are at large. The temperature at midday may be too high or at night too low. Some creatures may adjust their activities depending on the local competition. Therefore, for many varied reasons, crepuscular activity may best meet an animal's requirements by compromise. So they're just tie breaking it. That's came down to. You just said, huh? So that sounds like crepuscular. Sounds like you. I'm saying that's been me. Yeah, that too. Because I was you. Is that just a coming of age thing? Because when we were at least 5 years younger than what we are today, we were night birds, bro. I can speak for myself. I was a night owl. I would not like to get up, even though I had a day job. But maybe that was our transition into it, right? Because again, people, this.
We didn't have this was our time to make our own choice for it usually, because before we were forced to go to sleep usually for school because you're underage.
Yeah, because your parents said so, or it was their house, their rules, whatever. You're right.
Dictates for you to sleep at this time.
Right, you need to get your 8 hours of rest.
Indoctrinated also.
But is it how? Okay, I wanted to double back. Let me double back real quick. The evolution of us going from night owls to crepuscular, and then we'll talk about how the indoctrination is maybe playing a role. Because if we're already a diurnal species, then maybe they just found a way to harness that and you do some social engineering to work it out to their advantage. But our natural evolution as adolescents to adults, when we started off, being kids, daytime, nighttime, play out in the street, then go to bed. Not really too much twilight. And again, this portion that we're talking about now is not the scientific observation. These are just natural observations of our respective lives. As we got older, what we got in the cars, hanging out with social people, being social with other humans, and enjoying actions that necessarily didn't take place during the day. Now we move forward a little bit further. Shit, bro, insomnia. You be awake for no reason. Like, it's 2:00. Why am I awake? Why am I awake? This person's honking. I don't know why he's honking at us, but it's like, I gotta go to work at 8:00, bro. Why am I awake? And it's just the transition is. I don't want to say seamless, but it seemed like it kind of just blended. It just blurred together. Because the last time me and you hung out at night, we were what, L.A. Went to a strip club or something like that. That was the last time like we were actually like night birding. Like we both were single. We were just out there, just hanging out. I think I had the Jeep. Yeah, it had to be. It had to be. I had the Jeep. I had the Jeep then, and then we were just hanging out. I think I even came up to where you live a couple of times. You came down here. We went to go. We just cruised around. We did our thing. And now it's like we be up late just watching videos, and it's not even watching dumb shit. It's like watching it. It's like it's legitimately watching videos. They're saying that's giving an alternate perspective on what the hell has been happening in our lives. It's kind of like, where's this information at? How come it's been omitted during school hours, or the schooling hours, I should say? And it's like, these are just the lies teachers told us, parents told. Actually, we can't say parents lied. They could have just been misinformed. They honestly could. They just don't know any better. They just didn't know any better.
They clearly tried to misinform us as well. We just snapped at it.
It took a while though.
Yeah.
It took some time.
Yeah, we had to get out of the brainwashing camp. It takes 12 years.
Well, okay. Well, that's a long time. You sure you don't want to use a microphone? Because I'm pretty sure your voice is getting picked up. But like, you sure you don't want to just use it? Nah.
They don't need me.
Okay, fine. Y'all don't need him. He's just providing side comment. Hopefully you're hearing what he's saying. I don't know. I'll increase the sensitivity just a little bit. But I also, you guys know I'm outside, so. But yeah, it's crazy that now we don't want to go to sleep. It's not like we're starving for information, but it's like we're consuming information that we needed then, and we're trying to replenish it now, and at a rate that might not. I don't think it's exactly healthy.
And the crazy thing is, I feel that I'm so far behind, but when I go out into society, people are like, "What?"
and it reminds you, like, "Oh wait, no, I know I'm doing something right." Yeah.
Back home.
More research is required. And here's the thing. Just like this podcast, it's not like we're just reading it. It's like, oh, again, mainstream science called pseudoscience. It's not like we're just saying, oh, it's bullshit. It's like, no, we read it and then we go test it. We go out into the world and be like, okay, I'm just gonna say this phrase and see what happens. And what does it trigger? Is it gonna be something that was a predicted outcome? Is it something unpredicted? Or did nothing happen? It's the what?
It's the mind of a scientist.
Precisely.
Hypothesis, the whole scientific method.
Now, when I finally understood what science was, it's just a means of looking at the world, a lens, a way to look at the world, just through pure observation. And then, of course, you have a hypothesis. Then you do the testing and all that shit. Mainstream science has you wanting to do it certain ways, of course, but overall, it is. It's calculated predictions.
So what happens when people say they predict things?
Well, I just said the baseline is either three things: A, it's going to happen; B, it's not going to happen; or C, question mark. It's like maybe there was no reaction at all.
See, it'll happen, but in a different way that you don't expect.
The outcome is unperceived. Versus, okay, so you're saying, so it's like, okay, you have the three columns, right? And so like column A, it happens, but it's like column A happens the way you saw it. It happens verbatim. Verbatim. Or column B, no. Column C, it still does happen, but there's a subtext to it saying, hey, well, it still happened. It just didn't happen in the form that was anticipated, or to the degree of severity.
Sometimes it's good, sometimes it's bad.
Right. Oh boy. See, now this is like, I remember when we were studying like the Yakub and all that. It's like you stay up late. You're like, this shit is fascinating. Like, why is it? And it's not even because it's flying in the face of modern society to go against it just to rebel for rebellion's sake. It's like, no, there's factors and sections of human beings on the planet somewhere that believe this to be true and hold these truths to be self-evident. Get it? Hold these truths to be self-evident. Where does that come from? Where I wonder who else thought about something like that, right? But yeah, that's the thing, man. It's that's why I'm doing this podcast to see if if it's truly what they call pseudoscience, or there's a value to it that's not quantifiable by modern science because it doesn't operate in the same spectrum. The mainstream science has its realm, it works in that realm, and then you have this other realm where your science is not applicable because the measuring system is not valued at the same rate as what you value it at or what society values it. It's saying no, it's its own self-contained value system. So that's hopefully the answer I'll get after these 30 days. But it's getting a little late, and then we do have a long day tomorrow. So this should take us into the 11th hour, or 2300. So that's, like I said, that starts the twilight-esque moments because that's near 0 hour. So would you like to do your horoscope today too, since you're here? Okay, so I use astrology.com since it's a popular one and people can easily access it without any problem. You just say astrology.com, you're good to go. All you got to do is just pick the two that I tell you, and that's it. Because I'm not doing every last subgenre of the horoscope. I pick daily and finance because those seem like the two things that impact people's daily lives more than relationships or anything else really. And that is my own personal purview. So let's go over to our good old friends over at astrology.com, and I'm pulling up today's Scorpios. My fellow Scorpios, listen up. Oh boy, listen to this, bro. Listen to this one. You are way too savvy to fall for anyone's tall tales. But today, someone's skills at flattery will turn your head and make you think twice about things. This smooth talker tells a good story, and your interest is piqued. Follow your curiosity if doing so feels comfortable. But keep in mind that all that glitters is definitely not gold. If something or someone seems too good to be true right now, then guess what? Have fun, but don't fall for it. Man. So, you want me to explain the kind of rules to this study, or you remember what it was?
No.
Okay. So the rule is you have to intrinsically look at this objectively. You're not looking for a bias to confirm what you just read. And since this is being the Crepuscular episode, we have to remember that this was done near twilight, or during the twilight hours, rather, because that's essentially what's happening here. Also, when you do realize it hits, you just say, "I hit. That's a hit." If it misses, you obviously just say it misses. And if it's not applicable, you just say, "I'm not feeling it. It's not there. It doesn't. It's not. It doesn't apply to me today." So, for you, did you go to astrology.com?
No, I went to the scientific astrology.com.
Oh no, it's just regular astrology.com. And then you just pick your horoscope naturally, and then you'll pick daily, and then you'll hit finance for second, but we'll do the finance one. So you're up.
Oh, I'm reading.
Yeah, you're reading. You're reading, sir.
Wait, this one?
Yeah, that's the date. That's your daily. Let them know what your sign is, though.
Capricorn, the most idealistic aspect of your personality is coming out in full force right now, which will help you see the best in everyone you encounter today. This is a good time for confronting someone you're having troubles with because you will work that much harder at understanding where she or he is coming from. Using your compassion will help you make the peace much more quickly than forcing your opinion onto someone else. Taking a live and live and let live approach. Live and let
It's an old saying. It's kind of like
what
let
is it?
sleep
Live
and
and live.
no. It says live and let live. It's like one of those old sayings like let sleeping dogs lie. You're gonna live and let live.
Oh, that's before my time. Approach will keep you
Yeah.
balanced.
So now I gotta ask you. Truly think about what you just read, and like I said, sometimes I reread mine twice up to three times, and then I really let it sit. Try to knock out any bias that may come with it. Like I don't want to. If the moment you feel like you got to dig, that means it's not it. But when you're not digging and you're like, okay, that did happen today. Looking back at my day, okay, it's a hit. Or you can be like, looking back at my day, nah, that's a miss. This was totally off. This was not me today. Or the last one obviously is not applicable. It's like, nah, I'm not feeling this one at all. Doesn't apply. I'll come back to it. Mine. Going back to it right here. I'm gonna say yes, it's a hit because I signed up for this training and I did learn a lot. I learned about a different perspective of how groupthink works. And after leaving the service, I didn't want to do anything. I didn't want to deal with groupthink anymore because I'm pretty sure you even heard this one. This one might not be before your time. The whole an individual is smart and people are stupid. Yeah. But when you realize groupthink is a bunch of individuals thinking individually and trying to come to a consensus, I kind of have to dismiss that a little bit. I can't hold on to it because it's like if an individual is smart, that means they're bringing their intellectual prowess or powers to a group and they let it be known. You delegate because there are going to be some things that you wish that people will follow along with, and then they may or they may not. But you still showcase your intelligence on the subject. And then what the group think is saying, okay, can we all get behind this and push it forward? Then that's where I was like, okay, groupthink is not as terrible. I still think it's kind of bad, but I think that's just because my own psychological profile on the matter. It's not absolutely the end of the world. It's not completely terrible. So that's a hit for me so far on daily, but it has to be a hit on both. I forgot that last part. So when we go to finance, that's when you say, okay, cool, that matches up. So now that I've expressed my take on today's horoscope, what do you think about your daily, sir?
Hmm. I'd say it's a halfway hit.
There's no halfway. There's no halfway, sir.
Then I have to say miss.
It's okay if it misses. That's the whole point of this. This the whole point to see if this shit is actually applicable to people's lives. Good. This is good data. Here we go. Finance. You got yours queued up because I'm gonna come right to you right after mine. Scorpios. You know you have to have confidence in yourself to get others to have confidence in you, but it's a catch 22. When you're not sure of what you can pull off, this is the big one. So, talk yourself into a state of high energy. Don't stop until you radiate power and potential. I don't I don't know how this applies to finance. This is a miss. So now, what I told you with the rules, they both have to be one and the same. When it becomes like this, it's not applicable. When one hits, when one misses. It's not that one in itself is hit or miss. One has to hit or one has to miss or it's not applicable. So now, Mr. Capricorn, you're up for finance.
There is no good way to combine friends and money unless it's the chance you have today. Pooling funds with friends can lead to quick profit with no hassles if you all agree to a one hit deal. Otherwise, it gets too hard to stay objective. Well, I've been with you all day.
What say you? What say you?
Do you count as a friend?
Sure.
Well, I guess it's a hit.
So we both are ending today on the twilight with a not applicable. That's, go figure. The Twilight too. The Twilight episode, both of them are not applicable because one was, in this sense, day and night. You can't make this shit up, bro. Like, it just happened. It just happened. It's just like, well, it was, first it wasn't a hit, then it was a hit, and then it wasn't really applicable because it's like it didn't match up with my day. At the end of your cycle of the day, it did not match up. So in this case, horoscope was inaccurate for you because it was not applicable. Or actually, that's wrong. I shouldn't say it that way. What I'm trying to illustrate is that it wasn't applicable to you today. Period. It wasn't that it was inaccurate. It's just not applicable to you today. Because when you know something ain't working, you be like, nah, I'm done. But when, like mine, how the fuck does mine apply to finance? Look at this. How? It mentions nothing about money. Objectively, remember, we're not looking at this in an emotional stance. It's objective truths that you can say without a shadow of doubt, like, that happened. That is a thing. How is this applicable to finance today? But my first one was a hit. Your first one was a miss. But your second was a hit. Not applicable. It's just that simple. Well, I appreciate you for hopping online and, well, yeah, you're kind of online, but joining me, man. Hope you enjoyed it. It's like just having the dialogue, man. It's great. Like I said, most times I do these things since I started. It's just been me. My lady did a couple of them, but she was just kind of like, she got a little spooked out by one of them because it hit her so hard. She was just like, I don't look into this shit, but it hit. Even after I explained the rules, like, it was hit. And she was a little weirded out. Not even gonna front. But the other one, she was just like, this shit's dumb. Like, with no scruples, just, this shit's dumb. So, like I said, that's why I did an experiment. So, you've been tuned into G.R.D. I didn't even tell you what G.R.D. stands for. It means growth, research, and development, and that's the name of the podcast. You've been listening to Argus Row, House Scorpio. Scorpios, y'all know, stay up and keep researching. You know I am. All the other signs, you do what you do. Y'all do whatever y'all do. But my Scorpios, I love you. All right, we're getting out of here. It's actually getting kind of cold. Gonna roll these windows up. All right, peace, y'all.